Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic comes from the subreddit exmuslim, posted by user Sam Voxel. The post is a linked post titled, "Schoolgirl Admits Lying About Islamophobic Teacher, Leading to His Beheading by a Jihadist Due to Fear of Parental Anger." The tag for this post is a golden tag that reads "news" in parentheses. Below that, we see an image of a news article showing the tragically deceased due to an Islamic jihadist taking this man's life. We see the photo showing both the victim and the murderer. The victim of Muslim fundamentalism and the Muslim fundamentalist himself, side by side in this image, most likely screenshot of the article. Underneath that, we read text that reads, "Schoolgirl admits lying about Islamophobic teacher, leading to his beheading by a jihadist due to fear of parental anger." Point. A Muslim schoolgirl in France has admitted to lying about her teacher, Samuel Paty, making Islamophobic remarks, which ultimately led to his brutal beheading by a jihadist in 2020. The student, who was 13 at the time of the incident, confessed during a court hearing that she fabricated the story out of fear of repercussions from her parents after being suspended from school for 2 days. Point. Her false claims sparked an online harassment campaign against Paty, involving her father and other individuals. Tragically, an 18-year-old Islamist radical, Abdullah Anzarov, tracked down and decapitated Paty in a public attack. Point. The schoolgirl expressed remorse and apologized to Paty's family during the hearing, acknowledging that her lie had devastating consequences. Point. The trial, which is expected to last until December 20th, involves 7 men and 1 woman facing charges related to Paty's murder and the preceding online campaign. Point. Paty, a history and geography teacher, had shown caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad from the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo during an ethics class, sparking controversy. Point. The case has highlighted concerns about the infiltration of Islamist extremism in France and the need for societal awareness of the dangers it poses. Linked below is the dailymail.uk news article. The reason I'm covering this is because I wonder how much the Muslim schoolgirl feared getting or being on the receiving end of an honor killing by her parents. If she was that worried about what her parents might do to her, do I believe that she should still receive some consequences for her actions? Yes. However, this would be a perfect time to investigate the parents for any sort of what the French courts would see as child abuse. As we know here from covering previous honor killing stories, parents that do honor killings tend to be Muslim and tend to do them when they think that their children have violated any sense of honor or expectations that their parents had set for them. For more information, I will link the article as well as this Wikipedia article for further reading. And I want to point out and thank Wikipedia for noting that the motive was jihadism and Islamic extremism. In further research for this video, I came across this Science Direct article published in May 2024 under Child Abuse and Neglect, Volume 151. The article titled, "Honor, Violence, and Children, a Systematic Scoping Review of Global Evidence." This has the open access tag in green, and the highlights for this read. This is the only review investigating how honor-based violence, or HBV, affects children. Parentheses, N equals 101 articles, end parentheses. Most research on HBV in children was in Europe, parentheses, N equals 46 studies, end parentheses, or in North America, parentheses, N equals 21, end parentheses. There was limited research on HBV in children in South Asia, parentheses, N equals 10, end parentheses, East Asia and Pacific, parentheses, N equals 8, end parentheses, and Sub-Saharan Africa, parentheses, N equals 2, end parentheses. Out of 101 studies, 53 studies defined honor or HBV, and 28 studies offered recommendation for policy and practice. The most frequently documented effects on HBV on children were violence, family rejection, homicide, forced/early marriage. This appears to be an excellent paper, and I recommend it to anyone and everyone. Again, this was published in 2024, so this appears to be a relatively recent study topic. If you have any more studies that you know of that you want to recommend, please reach out in the comments below or to my email through my YouTube channel or other channel that I am posting this on. Also, I do want to make it clear that I understand that depending on what resources each of the different governments has available to them, they may not be able to research this as completely as myself or other people or loved ones of victims of honor-based violence or even surviving victims of honor-based violence want to see. However, this is a great step that is taken, and hopefully someday we'll see more studies that look at honor-based violence and how it corresponds to child abuse. The abstract of this paper reads, background. Although the harmful effects of honor-based violence, or HBV, against women have been well documented, less is known about how HBV affects children and adolescents. Aims. 1. To describe the contexts, research methods, and populations included in research on HBV and children. 2. To outline conceptual and methodological approaches, including definitions of honor. 3. To describe how honor-based practices affect children's experiences of violence, linked here. Methods. We searched 7 electronic databases using search terms for honor, violence, and children, which resulted in 7,122 unique records. 468 records were selected for full-text review. Articles reporting findings on the effects of honor-based harm or violence against children were included in the final sample for data extraction. We conducted bibliometric and thematic analyses of extracted data. Results. In total, 101 articles were included. Most studies were published after 2007, conducted in Europe, parentheses, N equals 46, end parentheses, or in North America, parentheses, N equals 21, end parentheses, and most used qualitative methods, parentheses, N equals 58, end parentheses, followed by quantitative methods, parentheses, N equals 32, end parentheses. In most studies, parentheses, N equals 74, end parentheses, children, especially girls, were included as experiencing HBV or being a victim of homicide related to HBV. A smaller sample of studies, parentheses, N equals 24, end parentheses, included children, especially boys, as perpetrators of HBV. Studies documented the following effects of HBV on children: violence, family rejection and control, homicide or honor killing, forced/early marriage, female genital cutting, linked here, gang membership/violence, hymen exam or reconstruction, sex work, or suicide. Recommendations. Further research on HBV should be child and youth-centered, situated in the Global South, engage and interview young people directly, and offer recommendations for action. Here is where I will end my transcription of this. This is a worthwhile read, and I will link it in the description below. If you want the full article to be read, please reach out to me. This is an issue that affects the future of both boys and girls, just from different perspectives. Because under systems that encourage this kind of parental anger and view of parents owning their children, girls and boys that will be the future, our future, will not have the rights they need to live out their own lives as their own selves. Thank you for watching/listening, and I will see you in the next one.